welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, a series that drives F1's worst cars since 2010, so you don't have to, in the often quite desperate hunt for points. And you join us, round 5 of 2015, the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. And you join us after our most disappointing race of this season so far, the Bahrain Grand Prix, where we just had nothing. No pace, no magic bullet in qualifying, no fight really in the race, and we ended really low down, kind of where you'd expect this MP430 McLaren Honda to have really finished. And that comes after 2 races where we've scored points and 1 race where we should have scored points but had a little bit of a coming together with, I think, Carlos Sainz on just heading on to the start of the penultimate lap. We just about avoided getting lapped in Bahrain, which is something we've not really been close to this season so far, I don't think. Not like we were in the previous seasons, where we were actually getting lapped, sometimes more than once. But Lewis Hamilton was right behind us as we started the final lap of the race, so we just about avoided it. Lewis took that victory in Bahrain to move him 16 points behind teammate Nico Rosberg, who's had a strong start to this season. Sebastian Vettel is in 3rd, Kimi Räikkönen is in 4th, and it's Massa, Bottas, Ricciardo, Kvyat. Teammate Fernando Alonso living off the points he scored in Australia. They're in 9th, ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. We are 11th, just a point ahead of Felipe Nasr, Sergio Perez, and a couple ahead of Marcus Ericsson. And then you've got those no-point scorers at the bottom: Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen, Pastor Maldonado, Grosjean, Marion Stevens, and the man of Mauritius at the back. While in the Constructors, Mercedes obviously leading the way, looking to retain their Constructors title. Something I don't think any team has done yet. I think we've had Red Bull, then McLaren, then Red Bull, then Mercedes so far. I might be wrong. Ferrari are in 2nd, ahead of Williams, who are ahead of Red Bull by 38 points. We're 5th. 2 points clear of Force India, and it's Sauber, and then no points for Toro Rosso, Lotus, and Manor Russia. And you join us, as I say, at the Spanish Grand Prix, the start of the European season, a circuit that we know very well, one that will be on the calendar for every season that this series runs, until possibly 27, if we're still going through 27, and a race that we've already sort of done. If you go back to the start of the Welcome to 2015, or the Welcome to 2015 video, episode 102, I think it is, where you can see us driving around. And we had a pretty decent race in that one. We started down the order and ended up finishing about 5th. But single race mode and championship mode, in this game at least, in terms of it being championship mode and not career mode, often very different. We thought we'd have a better time of it in 2014 after the pre-season race with Caterham, and it was as difficult as it was. But we've already scored points more often this season than we have in the last 2, so I'm kind of hoping that a circuit that we know, even with its power dependency, is going to be one that we can enjoy. This car's been tough to drive, and I don't know why. Again, this game being what it is, with championship mode rather than career mode, there's no real car development, I don't think. So it's just kind of tied to whatever this car has at the start of the season, or whatever it's been coded in with. So yeah, we might find this more difficult than we did in our pre-season event, as it were. But apart from Bahrain, I feel this season's gone well so far. This is where it really starts to take off, though. We need to really desperately see how different this is going to be to our pre-season mode. And to do that, we need to go and do some practice. While we do practice, we'll talk about the real world. 2015 Spanish Grand Prix. The European leg of the season began in its traditional home of Barcelona for round 5 of the season, and, as was tradition, teams brought multiple upgrades to their cars. Renault brought an improved engine as Ricciardo was already on his final power unit, while Ferrari brought new parts as well, though Räikkönen would find them tough to work with, and he'd revert to the previous setup by the final practice. McLaren also arrived with some changes, but only to their livery. Despite the upgraded power unit, Daniel Ricciardo found himself missing a chunk of running after another problem was discovered, while it was the normal story at the front. Rosberg ahead of Hamilton and Vettel in the first practice. The second practice session was another one of trouble for Ricciardo, Red Bull eventually changing the power unit in his car again, with the Australian heading out with just 10 minutes left. Romain Grosjean would also find himself in strife as the engine cover of his Lotus shattered on the start-finish straight, causing a red flag. The stoppage wouldn't affect Mercedes though. Hamilton led Vettel and Rosberg by his session's conclusion. The real surprise of the session was Button up in 7th, McLaren seemingly enjoying Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. The final practice session saw issues for Hamilton and Raikkonen, the former spinning to a halt at turn 3, while the latter found himself struggling for grip and balance in his upgraded Ferrari, deciding to abandon the new parts in favour of a more familiar handling car.
Fantastic. That was the fastest lap.
Rosberg will top the times ahead of Vettel and Hamilton.
Set fuel mix 1 if you want to save the engine for the race.
Qualifying began with Raikkonen still unhappy with the balance of his car, getting caught in traffic on his first run, meaning he had to run the medium tyre in the session to make it through. McLaren were, however, posing a different question, neither driver using a harder tyre. The gamble paid off. Both cars made it into Q2 for the first time in 2015, which relegated both Force Indias into the drop zone with a pair of Manor cars and Marcus Ericsson. Q2 would produce no major shocks as both Lotus, both McLaren and Felipe Nasr would drop out, though the performance of the newly liveried McLaren Honda cars was certainly an improvement on what had come before in 2015. Rosberg was the first to top times in the final part of qualifying, running a quarter of a second clear of Hamilton on newer tyres, something only Bottas and Vettel had of the other front runners. Bottas made a mistake, gifting third place to Vettel after the first runs. Everyone headed out for their final runs, and the top four would remain in place, Rosberg beating Hamilton to pole for the first time in 2015, but it would be the Toro Rossos of Sainz and Verstappen who made waves, slotting in ahead of Raikkonen, Kvyat, Massa and Ricciardo. Rosberg reverted to his clutch from 12 months prior, and it proved to be a change that was a stroke of genius as he got away comfortably ahead of Lewis Hamilton, the Brit getting wheel spin and losing a spot to Vettel towards turn 1. Despite the pace advantage of the Mercedes over the Ferraris, Hamilton was unable to find a way to attack Vettel, the makeup of this circuit to Catalunya, meaning that it was hard for drivers to attack even with DRS. It took a pit stop pass for Hamilton to get by the Ferrari, though that didn't happen after his first stop due to a slow left rear tyre change. Hamilton would find himself moving so far ahead of the rest of the pack that Mercedes switched him to a 3-stop strategy, finally getting by both Ferraris after a second stop, but he was unable to make a dent into the gap held by Rosberg. In a typical Spanish Grand Prix, there were a few minor moments, the two Lotuses colliding after Grosjean ran wide at turn 1, while Sainz and Kvyat made contact at turn 1 on the final lap. Rosberg was however alone at the front, taking victory some 17 seconds clear of Hamilton. Vettel would claim third once again, a further 27 seconds off, while Bottas took fourth. Raikkonen was next, ahead of Massa, a lonely Ricciardo. Grosjean, Sainz and Kvyat completed the points. After a woeful Bahrain, can we get back into the groove in Spain? I don't really like this circuit. It's one of those tracks where the AI are usually quite quick, And we've had some really terrible races so far here. We've won a few places to get disqualified up. Despite this, we actually seem to have alright pace here for some unknown reason, which could lead to a real surprise result. Let's at least aim for the shoot, eh? And see if we can slot in around P8. Maybe we can have a bit of a stronger result and give ourselves a nice platform to fight in Barcelona.
Today's qualifying session is about to start here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and what a cracker of a session we're expecting it to be. Spain is one of those tracks that can create unexpected results, so it's very difficult to know who might be strong here in today's qualifying.
If you can put together an efficient package with a good compromise between downforce and straight line speed, you can catch the other teams out here, just like Pastor Maldonado did back in 2012. Ferrari have a good track record at this circuit, but my money is on Mercedes to have a strong qualifying session here today.
Thank you very much, Crofty, and well, qualifying one in Spain. Practice was alright. I guess we were the only ones who only did prime running sessions, prime tyre runs, sorry. So I finished way down the order because the times got better as everybody went on with the options. But we didn't actually feel too bad. We were, at least during my little 5 minutes of practice or whatever, we were outpacing the Toro Rossos and the Mana Marushas and our home hero teammate, Nando. So we might do alright here. But I've thought that before coming into a qualifying session in every season and found ourselves floundering at the back. With any luck, we can get out of Q1 and have a decent run of it, but we better get out there and see how we get on. So let's take a look at the fastest lap in Q1. Obviously a straight run down to turn 1. Heavy on the brakes, try and clip the apex on the inside. It enables you to actually swing the car through. Same with 2, we actually get it wide and catch a little bit of gravel, but that doesn't seem to affect us too much through 3 as we head up towards Repsol. Getting heavy on the brakes here again, 0.3 of a second up on our first lap time, so at least we're doing something right as we head down towards this tight left-hander. Again, hooking it to the apex really nicely, get a little bit wide, but not too much. Avoid the gravel at all costs. Then it's through this little chicane in the middle of the lap again, using the curbing to kind of hook the car a little bit, especially the way the circuit ebbs and flows through there. Maybe a little too hesitant at the top of the hill there through the right-hander, but not too bad. 1/10 of a second off, but the final sector is where we seem to lose all our time in the first lap. So we run through turn 10 really nicely, over the curbs through 11, and then we're just waiting to get on the power through 12 again, running a little bit wide, get a bit of grass, but not too bad. Then it's this fiddly little chicane at the tail end of the lap. But we managed to navigate it fairly cleanly, apart from that second bit, but again, lap's not invalidated, so we can gun it to the line and get ourselves a pretty decent improvement. P6 at the end of Q1 then, we may genuinely have an alright amount of pace. Don't ask me where the audio has gone. It does happen to do that sometimes with this game. But yeah, P6, we're into Q2 quite comfortably, knocked out in Q1. Oh, that's Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Roman Grosjean, Merry and Stevens. That's Sainz and Perez, probably the shock. Grosjean maybe not so much, the Mana Marushas definitely not. But Kvyat's down there on the primes, as is Ricciardo. We're just behind Bottas. So there are a couple of people who may get just a little bit quicker in Q2. But let's cross to that session and see what happens. In the garage then for Q2 in Spain, and comfortably through, only just a second off the all-conquering Mercedes at the top. Somehow might have some weird pace here like we did in Australia. So we might see a rather unexpected qualifying result. But this is normally where everybody starts really increasing their pace. So we better get out there and see what we're competing against. And time for fastest lap in Q2. Once again, just foot down, waiting to get down into turn 1. get on the brakes at just the right time. A little wide through one, but we use the curb to hook us through two, and we keep well away from the gravel on the outside as we then roll it through three, constantly just waiting to get the power on, which we managed to do as we head up towards Rousal. Decent first sector, and we ride the curb there again, trying to try and hook the car, keeping ourselves well away from the apexes as we get down towards turn number 5. Really just let the car swing in there and use the runoff to great effect as we head towards the chicane in the middle of the lap. Again, hooking the car through, get a little bit of gravel there, you can see the car gets a bit twitchy, but we're okay. Up and over the top, and this time keeping well away from the gravel on the outside. Heading down towards turn number 10, heavy on the brakes, keeping it really neatly towards the apex, and not running too wide either. Can bounce over this one at 11, and then again, turn 12, keeping it nice and tight, nice and tidy, keeping it just out of the gravel again as well. Then there's this fiddly little chicane at the end of the lap once again. This time we don't take as many liberties with the inside curb, but gives us a nice slingshot out through the last corner, and across the line. First lap on the board, not bad at all. Where will it end up?
We really didn't expect Nico Rosberg to have such a poor qualifying session. I guess it was just not his day today, but he's out in Q2.
And at the end of Q2, we are comfortably through once again, and we get crofty this time, explaining that Nico Rosberg is out of qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso also just misses out in P11. We had a Marcus Ericsson, Pastor Maldonado, Felipe Nasr. Rosberg disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. Literally no idea what he did, but whatever he did, he is not going to be in Q3. We are still in the hunt here. We could have a really, really good qualifying if it's just a top 10 shootout to go. Let's cross to that. You join us in Q3 where the rain has started here in Spain, which could put a very different complexion onto this top 10 shootout. No Nico Rosberg, so there is definitely one spot up in that top 6, possibly up for grabs, if we can grab it. Intermediates to start this session. Let's see how we cope in these changeable conditions in Spain. This lap in the final session, and intermediate tyres. Heading down towards turn 1, we can see that there's a car heading out the pits, but we just about stay far enough behind Verstappen. The conditions mean that we are so loose through turn 1, we have to dive up the inside of the Toro Rosso, just about gets out the way. Track conditions are deteriorating rapidly. We might have just timed this well as we get on the brakes up towards Repsol. The car does not want to comply, but we manage to just swing the rear end round and actually take the exit far tighter than we need to, down the hill through turn number 5. Not too bad in terms of traction off the curb at least, as we head to the chicane in the middle of the lap again, as we have done in all of the other sessions. Use the curb to try and swing us through, but we get all out of shape as the conditions really deteriorate, very wide through turn 9, but we managed to avoid any gravel or any damage and get heavy on brakes into turn number 10. It is really becoming difficult to navigate this circuit in these conditions. We managed to get round and just about avoid going too far wide. Jump over the curb at 11 through 12. The car just will not settle. Slipping and sliding all over the place as we're into 13 and 14, 15. Again, getting on the brakes early, jumping over curbs where we can, and then we swing it through the final corner. It was scruffy, it was a bit of a wild ride. Decent lap on the board. What does everybody else do in these conditions?
Well, it's a great result for the team and one that we were expecting from them. Tomorrow, they'll be expecting both cars on the podium if it all goes to plan.
Literally no idea what Anthony Davidson's talking about there, but we take an unlikely pole position by nearly 0.8 of a second here in Spain because we were the only driver to set a lap on the intermediate tyres. Everybody else came out of the pits while it was getting too wet, had to end their first runs going in and getting wet tyres on, and from there they couldn't be quick enough. In the conditions, I line up on pole position ahead of Daniel Kvyat. Lewis Hamilton's in third, then it's Massa, Vettel, Raikkonen, Ricardo Bottas, Hülkenberg and Max Verstappen. This is not going to be a position I think we hold for very long. It's a long, long run down to turn 1. But if the conditions are in our favour, who knows what could happen? Let's cross to the Spanish Grand Prix and see what does occur.
Good afternoon and welcome to Catalonia, home of the Spanish Grand Prix. The cars are on the grid and the crowd's excitement is building ahead of lights out. Despite having oversteer problems in practice, McLaren managed to fix those issues for qualifying. Oh, what a difference it made to Jenson Button as he finished the session in P1. He starts as favourite for today's race.
It really was a great performance from him yesterday, and I think he'll be feeling very confident that he can push on and win today's race. Unless he has car trouble or a bit of bad luck, he should be untouchable.
After a stellar performance in qualifying yesterday, Daniel Kvyat must be dreaming of his first ever podium here today.
The young Russian has shown some great maturity already in his time in Formula 1. He has the genuine speed to put that car on the podium today if he gets a bit of luck and keeps out of trouble.
Well, thank you, Crofty and Anne. Not sure where they're getting the oversteer thing from. Probably it's obviously just a pre-generated line, but an unlikely pole position. One that I didn't expect in a million years. That's the first pole we've got since Japan 2011, which was another, if I remember rightly, rain-affected session. Bright sunshine, blue skies. This is going to see us fall backwards quite quickly. There's little hope, I think, of holding this position. We have a Red Bull to our right, a Mercedes in behind us, a Williams there as well, both Ferraris. Rosberg's going to be cutting through the field as well. I think the best we can really hope for is to hold out for some points. And I think that's what we've got to aim for. We've seen that the AI aren't great in combat. And that's an understatement. So we've got to be really careful of that heading down in towards turn 1 and in the early laps, because we're going to be on the back foot, I think, for a lot of this race. But we have shown pace even in the drive. We're up in sort of 6th, 7th in the opening couple of qualifying sessions. So we might be all right. I think the podium's probably out of the question. I'm going to aim for P6, which will mean a few spots lost, but hopefully we can get a decent enough start and try and hold a little bit of our ground in the early stages, and then we'll probably lose out in the pit stops. I think we'll probably get jumped down into turn 1, but anything we can do to just try and stem the flow through this race will be of benefit. Enough talk. It's time to get the lights on and out again for the 2015 Spanish Grand Prix.
You've done well to put it on pole, but we've still got work to do. Try to cover the inside line off the start.
Jeff giving the sage advice, but it doesn't matter as the 5th red light goes out. We head down towards turn 1 and already Hamilton's passed Kvyat now as well. We'll try and stay to the outside of the Red Bull, inside for turn 2. We do hold second spot. That's a good start. Lewis already running away in that Mercedes. Well, it's going to be tough to try and hold people back down towards turn 1 as we went a little wide through Repsol. I think it was Repsol anyway. But we managed to keep Kvyat behind us. It's just going to be an onslaught from behind us. Hamilton disappears already. The Mercedes much quicker than we are, full fuel as well, which does make this car a bit sketchy to drive. Just knocks down the DRS sign. Of course the Mercedes was going to out-drag us down towards turn number 1. Now it's all about trying to just maintain, trying to hang with these guys for as long as possible, probably until we hit pit stops, and then hopefully we'll start to see the field break up a little bit. But we will cross the line P2 at the end of the first lap, and we seem to have a slightly better final sector than Kvyat does, which will give us a little bit of breathing room down towards 1. So now into 3rd, so the Mercedes parent car behind us. curb on the inside of turn 2. They nearly lose the car. Kvyat and Mata have both just elbowed their way past. Mistake from me to give them the opportunity. Raikkonen's gone through as well.
Careful on the tyres. Our data is showing some wear. Most likely you'll be able to feel it.
Having a better final sector than these guys though, and they are all sort of still fighting each other as Raikkonen gets really out of shape. We'll get DRS, tyres are going. And the one way, then the other. We'll hold the Ferrari off. Step them through the final sector. This might be the challenge now, though. Raikkonen's going to move for Kvyat. Kvyat's probably going to move for Massa.
Massa is now the race leader.
I don't know, Lewis Hamilton's already been in. And Vettel going side by side for the back as we run very wide. Are we going to be following these guys in? No, we're not. Nobody else in either. Oh, actually, I think Vettel might be in. There's some spots, not many though. Oh, we're held for the Toro Rosso and Vettel jumps us. It's frustrating as we fall down the order. 16th for now. I think that's 17th as Ricciardo goes by. Another early stopper, but Ricciardo goes into the back of Vettel. And we dive past the pair of them. Back up into 15th. I think that 14th. Somebody's just binned up. I'm not sure who. As Vettel looks to the inside. Have to hold him off. Roberto Meri's there as well. He's struggling on his tyres and Mana Marussia pace. We will get past the Spaniard. In between us, Vettel and Ricciardo. The final sector of the lap, which is helpful for us. Nando's in. Regain a bunch of spots. Down to 19 in this race. Whoever did bin it is out of this race. Bottas has managed to jump us.
That's P9, 9th place now.
Right there. I'm very slow off the corner. The inside of the Williams, there's a little bit of contact, playing the AI at their own game. The inside at Rapsol back into P8. Immediately on the back of Will Stevens, who's struggling. We'll go for a kamikaze, but we'll pass the other man of Marussia.
To give that position back. That was an illegal overtake.
Legal overtake. You have to hurry. Oh, 5-second time penalty.
Creative interpretation of track limits. They've given you a 5-second time penalty.
And we lost spots to Vettel and Bottas. Thanks to Will Stevens slowing everybody up. We will get back past Bottas.
Rosberg's just taken first place.
Rosberg currently leads. Grosjean, Massa and so on in the pits. Where are we going to end up coming back out? I think they beat us across the line there. Well, they have. Kvyat, Massa and Hamilton have pitted in that front. That's Hamilton was always going to, but Rosberg, Grosjean and Perez out there. Rosberg yet to stop on the options. Grosjean and Perez on the primes. Kimi Raikkonen is the man listed in P20, so I think we've lost the Ferrari. So we have a 5-second penalty for overtaking off track and not managing to give the place back. So we've got to get a bit of a move on. Try to not lose a lot of spots at the end of this race.
Hamilton has just put up the fastest lap of the race so far. It should be a few laps at least before you start feeling too many tyre issues. They seem in good condition
Vettel.
for the time being.
He was close. I could see he was trying to
Hamilton has just taken the lead.
keep him behind me. Didn't manage to. P8 Hamilton now leads. I think he's jumped Rosberg. Don't think it's been in yet. Vettel is right in front of us, but there's also a little queue of cars there. Kvyat, Massa, I just saw Grosjean, Perez as well. Use this to our advantage. Rosberg's in that group. Grosjean heading in. Perez, I think, has been in as well. DRS is open. Vettel looks to pass Kvyat. Oh, we get very late on the brakes, so nearly going to the back of the Red Bull. We open the door for Bottas, but we're back into P6. I'm not sure if Rosberg stopped at this point or not. I'd assume he has. Started on the options. We can try and stay with these guys, at least for a little while. Bottas the outside at turn 10. Bit scruffy this lap, and there we go.
Remember, you can move the brake balance to the rear. This may stop your front tyres from locking.
Bottas just sort of stayed there. Didn't even know he was there. We only lose one spot, or two technically. Ricciardo got through the stuff in there as well. Verstappen is in.
Has just taken first place.
Hoping this race isn't starting to unravel. We're going to have to really push here, I think.
We're 2 laps
Hamilton
away
in.
from the next round of stops. We're going to fit the option tyre.
Vettel in, Ricciardo in. Somebody else as well, not sure, but we're up to P5.
You've taken 5th.
Come then for our second stop of the afternoon. Some spots. I think Alonso's coming in as well. I'm going to cost Alonso spots. Vettel goes through. Perez will go through as well. Grosjean 2. Sainz. Ricciardo and Bottas. P10 might be 11th. There's Verstappen. Serve the 5 seconds in the pits like you can. The modern Formula 1 is we're going to try and squeeze up the inside of Max, and we do. 5 seconds is getting added on at the end regardless, so I've really got to make hay while the sun shines here. Bottas and Grosjean in. Pick the DRS off them as well. We keep moving forward. Perez is in. Take another place.
That's P7. You've moved into
looking possibly on target for a P10 if we can continue moving away from Verstappen. Nearly 5 seconds up before he went into the pits, so we've almost nailed that gap. Try and maintain that, if not get further away. Better time in this race as well. Could see some shenanigans for others. Have already made contact ahead of us.
Rosberg has just made a pass for the lead.
Oh, we've got yellows.
The track is clear. Green flag.
Ricardo may have been held up. Looks like Will Stevens involved again. Hulkenberg too.
Watch for a chance to make
And
a move.
Kvyat. I think they've been trying to lap Hulk, and the Red Bulls have come a cropper. That's the Force India. Right with Ricardo again. This working for us, I wonder.
Rosberg's really going for it. He's just put in the best lap of the race so far. There's a 15-second gap between you and the car behind.
Spooked Ricardo out a bit there. And then he's in the pits. Jump in before he goes in. Don't get the DRS off of him, but now P6, make that P5. Sebastian Vettel in and heading out. We'll be in at the end of this lap. And for prime tyres to the end.
That's P5.
Whatever happened for Ricardo and Kvyat with Hulk might have really benefited us here. Vettel will go past. Will we get it in front of Bottas? It might be tight. We won't get it in front of Bottas or the car behind him. There's
You'll be able to push
Ricardo.
soon once these scrub tyres are up to speed.
Coming down pit, start finish straight. We will get out ahead of Ricardo. Another option stint, so it's another shortish run. Primes to the end, I guess. And Ricardo, give us a little nudge. We'll do to Ricardo what we did to Bottas, but this time we'll stay far enough inside that we keep him behind us. Don't make contact. Don't want to lose too much time battling. It looks like we can catch Perez. Maybe not Bottas.
If you continue to cut corners, the stewards will give you a penalty.
Bottas is in. Ricardo will go through. Past the Red Bull, that would be nice. 5-second penalty hanging over us, it might all be in vain, but at least try and stay comfortable in the points. Although having problems with Red Bull with Force India for the second time in this race. Both have DRS because he was following Perez pretty closely. Is it going to be enough to hold him back? Will, you know. Oh, Nazar and Stevens trying to get out the way. just came to a stop at the end of turn 2. We managed to just avoid it. P5. We're about to lap Roberto Merri, but he heads into the pits. Ricciardo is in now as well.
Matching race pace, good job.
At the end of this lap, if I'm lucky, Diric's going to get held up by Merri coming out of the pits, which will allow me to stay in front of him after the pit stops. Final stop of the day. And a quick look at race director. Bottas still on the options. Has to be staying out though. Will I think need to come in. Perez also still on the options. Away we go. Back out in P6. Can do a job holding people up. Might even come home in P6. If you told me back in 2015, or well, yeah, back in 2015, that I'd be driving the car that would go into the 2026 season as defending constructors champions between two drivers driving for Catalan, I'd wonder what you were. I'd wonder what kind of fever dream you had. But there we are, back into P5. Ricciardo, the man behind us. Let's know whether we can pull away from the Red Bull or not. Interesting to know what the gap currently is. I need 5 seconds. Have to go. Ricciardo is right with us. Cannot seem to any pace on these prime tyres. Hoping that we'll still be far enough in front of the car currently in 7th. Really are going to have to push all the way to the end of this one. Make that quick decision as well as to whether we defend from Ricciardo or we let him go and monitor the gap back to the next car. However, here catching up to a man of Marussia. Stayed ahead of Ricciardo through the DRS zone up towards 10. Will Stevens heads into the pits. Worst possible timing for me. Kind of hoping he'd be there as we came around the final corner and we could jump in and kind of just sit in the way of Ricciardo, who's not quick enough at the moment, although he is going to look outside of turn 1. We will just sort of block him out a little bit, penultimate lap of this one. I think we have the gap to B7 to not have to worry so much about our time penalty, then we can still gain a pretty valuable result here. After just 5 rounds, making this the 3rd worst season so far in Blue Flag Bandits. As long as we can hold it here and we don't have an instant with Ricciardo, I don't know whether just let it go here is the smart play. Go to the inside, there is a bit of contact. Stay in front of him. I think he'll probably have us down the start-finish straight.
Out in front.
As we head towards our final lap of the race. Started on pole. Always knew we were going to go backwards. Especially through the pit phases. Ricciardo is going to hunt us down once again. Lost it off the curb there at turn 2, dropped positions after Hamilton had beat us off the line. coming together with Bottas, which I thought really wrapped our chances of a decent score. Nico Rosberg takes victory from Dana in 15th spot. Great drive through the field for the Mercedes. Trying to get a back past Roberto Merri and put him between us and our immediate competition just there. Didn't notice that we'd illegally overtaken because I thought I was just trying to take a ball in action. Didn't let him back past in time as Ricciardo goes to the outside. Well, stay to the inside and keep him behind. Then had Red Bull have an incident with Hulkenberg, but we've already caught that 5 seconds. Don't remove it in the pits like we do in modern F1, but we'll cross the line P5 on the road. I think we'll finish P6.
Well, what a weekend that has been. Please join us next time for another thrilling instalment of this Formula One season.
Thank you, Crofty, and we do, in the end, finish P6 far enough in front of Valtteri Bottas to hold that spot by 6 seconds as well, even with the penalty, so plenty in hand. Yeah, we started pole and we slipped backwards, but there was always going to be the case Hamilton had beaten us off the line, but he ends up getting beaten by Nico Rosberg, who will extend his championship lead. Hamilton comes home second ahead of Vettel, and then it's Massa, Ricciardo. We get that P6, and it's Bottas in 7th ahead of Perez, Sainz, and Alonso picks up a point as well, so double point score for McLaren. Grosjean 11th, just outside the points with Verstappen. Kvyat down in 13th after, I don't know what happened to him. I think he might have just got caught behind back markers after a pit stop. Maldonado 14th, and it's Nasser, Hulkenberg, Ericsson, Merri 18th, Will Stevens 19th. Kimi Räikkönen doesn't finish the race after I think he just span out. I saw yellow flags and dust, and that was it. Kimi was out. What does that do for the championships? Well, Nico Rosberg has a 23-point lead over Lewis Hamilton, who is 7 clear of Vettel. Massa moves up to 4th with that result ahead of Kimi, who slips to 5th. Bottas, Ricciardo and Kvyat all stay exactly where they are. We catapult up to P9. We're now above Fernando. 9th and 10th for McLaren in the drivers' stand-ins. Hulkenberg's 11th ahead of Perez, who moves up with Carlos Sainz. Nasser slips to 14th and Marcus Ericsson's down to 15th. Not many no-point scorers now. Grosjean, Verstappen, Maldonado, Merri and Stevens. You'd say Verstappen, maybe Grosjean should be picking up points. Maldonado, probably not. Merri and Stevens, probably not, unless there's some carnage somewhere. In the constructors, everybody stays where they are, but Mercedes' lead is now 53 points over Ferrari, who edge away from Williams. Red Bull still yet to hit double figures. We're 40 behind them in 5th, but we are still ahead of Force India, Sauber and Toro Rosso. Lotus and Mana Marussia, the only teams yet to score this season. And for the first time, I think, in this entire series, Spain wasn't bad at all, was it? We come away with a P6 after a pole position in mixed conditions. Things are going to get tougher. I can feel it already, because I'm pretty certain that Monaco is next, and then we're on to our favourite circuit. Still a lot more racing left in 2015, and I think if we can have results like here in Australia, we might have a decent season of it. But we have now definitely surpassed Marussia in 2013, Caterham in 2014, and HRT in 2011. 2012, sorry. And I even think Team Lotus in 2011. Actually, no, Team Lotus did all right, didn't they? We're gonna check that while I'm here. So 20 points as a constructor. Yeah, we're ahead of Marussia in 2013, Caterham in 2014, and Team Lotus in 2011. We're only 15 points off our HRT score of 2012. Still some way, 60 points as a constructor to go to jump our total back in 2010 with Virgin Racing at the start of this. And for all of those point scores, well, we have 11 points. as a driver, which means after 5 rounds, we've already beaten 2013 and 2014. 1 more point, and we beat 2011 as well. Can we pick up that point at the Principality of Monaco? It'll be tough, isn't it? Let's be honest. But who knows? Stranger things have happened, and we took pole here, so that certainly qualifies. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. You know the drill by now. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.